Hello everybody and welcome to this top 5 video on my favorite board game designers. Before I get started, if you haven't done so already, please take a look at all my various social media pages as well as my Patreon page. On all of those, you'll be able to interact with myself as well as my channel in all sorts of fun, cool, and interesting ways. Getting right into the video, this is part of a 2-part mini-series I'm doing about board game designers. This one is about my personal favorite designers. So these are the ones whose games I tend to really enjoy. They have themes that I really like, all of that kind of stuff. The other video that I have in this mini-series is the game designers that I most respect. They've been around for a really long time. They have very popular games. I might not necessarily like them, but I'm just like, that guy's pretty cool. So like I said though, for this particular video, it's my personal favorites. These are designers that make games I really enjoy. I genuinely love playing them. In some cases I even love reading the rules, all of that kind of thing. And those are essentially my criteria. They're themes that I really like, game mechanics that I like, but not necessarily really well-known people. So that said, as always, you guys know I love to hear from you. What are your favorite designers, or who are your favorite designers and why? What are some of the games that they made? You guys know I love to hear from you. Please let me know in the comments below. That said, we're going to get started with my number 5. At number 5, I've got John Covue, who leads up Genius Games. The reason that he's so low on the list is honestly because I'm pretty biased. I've worked with him for a good while, including on this game, Cytosis, helping him do some of the later design work and adding in some new mechanics and a few other things. I've also done some play testing, but essentially, I love Genius Games games. They're all science-based, biology, chemistry, all that kind of stuff, which is right up my alley. And he does a wonderful job of doing good play testing, making the theme integrate without being overbearing, and just having a fun and good educational experience that doesn't feel like you're sitting there learning. So, John Covue, my number 5. At number 4, I've got Peter Olotka. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I do apologize if it's wrong, but he designed my favorite game of all time, Cosmic Encounter. He actually designed the original game that came out in like the 70s and has been working on it ever since then. In addition, he made Rex. He also made Dune, one of the games that I'm really excited to finally see a reprint for, maybe, possibly, hopefully. The license finally got transferred, but either way, he hasn't been as prolific as some of the other ones, but just the fact that he designed my favorite game of all time, as well as several of the other games that I really enjoy, like Dune and its spiritual predecessor or spiritual successor Rex, I wanted to put him on this list for that. So Peter Olotka, my number 4. At number 3, I've got Bruno Cathala. Now you may be thinking, who's that guy? And honestly, I thought the same thing, but when I was researching for this video, I found him. I was like, wow, this guy has designed so many games that I really love, and that's why he's on this list of my favorite designers. He's honestly fairly prolific. He designed Shadows over Camelot. He also designed Five Tribes, Seven Wonders Duel, several other games that I really enjoy. Cyclades is one of the other ones I wanted to mention. So very prolific, a lot of really great thematic games, and honestly a fairly large breadth as far as mechanics are concerned. Lots of different styles of game and things like that, but I had never heard a whole lot about him, maybe in part because he works frequently with other people, but either way, really cool, lots of wonderful games. Bruno Cathala, my number 3. At number 2, I have Reiner Knizia. Now, I will tell you right off the bat that Reiner is the only person who made both lists, my personal favorites as well as my most respected. He has a PhD in mathematics, and he has designed over 500 board games since the early 90s. Now, Battleline is my personal favorite, but he has also designed Amun-Re as well as Modern Art. Modern Art is one of my favorite auction games of all time. And essentially, I love Reiner Knizia's games because he goes all the way across from abstract games like Battleline all the way to really heavy thematic games and pretty much everywhere in between. And I like to think, due to his PhD in mathematics, everything tends to be very well balanced, and it feels like a wonderful complete experience where you feel like you can do pretty much anything and every strategy is viable at one time or another. He is an absolutely incredibly prolific game designer who has some wonderful titles under his belt. Reiner Knizia, my number 2. At number 1, I've got Vlaada Chvátil. I believe. I do apologize, I always mispronounce his name. But my favorite game of all time from his is Dungeon Lords, but he has done a lot of different ones. We've got Dungeon Lords, Dungeon Pets, he did the Galaxy Trucker, he did Space Alert, lots and lots of different games. The theme that runs through all of his games, honestly, is the rule books. I love reading his rule books. They are absolutely hilarious, do a wonderful job of explaining very complex mechanics, and they are a genuine pleasure to read. I absolutely adore them. And that's honestly the biggest reason that he is at the top of this list, on top of the fact that he is an incredibly prolific designer who also designed my favorite solo game of all time, which is Mage Knight, this guy right here. And I absolutely love every game that I've played from him. Vlaada, my #1 favorite game designer. Well folks, that's it for me. I hope that you enjoyed this video on my top 5 personal favorite game designers. Again, these are my favorites because of the themes or mechanics or whatever it happens to be that they combine together. They may not be super well known, they may not be super prolific, but they are the ones that are on my shelves because I'm like, yes, I love these games so much. That said, you guys know I love hearing from you. Please let me know anything and everything in the comments below, including who your personal favorite designers are and why, as well as some of the games that they've designed. But with that, thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.